Oh no. Oh no. No. It's in here with me. I have a lot of trophies, and I keep them in this room here. But I have an overall completion percentage of just over 50%, and that's not good enough. My goal is to boost that to 75% by going down my trophy list and picking out old games that I have little to no trophies for. And the original Dead Space is a game that has always terrified me. Now, I don't typically do horror games, or movies, or jump scares, or creepy pictures, scary stories, Halloween. But despite this, I still played the original Dead Space in 2010. I think I started it at a friend's house and then borrowed it to play at home. I don't remember, but the point is, I hated it. Every minute of it. It scared me so much that it took me over 3 years to finish. I would almost exclusively play it when my friend was in the room with me. And by that I mean, hey man, check it out, I got these 2 new games, and they even have co-op. Dude, that's awesome, but I was actually sort of hoping you'd just play Dead Space for me while I watch. Please? At one point I tried to force myself to finish the game by doing a Let's Play series.
Oh my god, what's that?
I played it for 40 minutes.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Moving on! I started this journey with 29 of the 49 trophies. These included 30 kills with each the plasma cutter, pulse rifle and line gun, dismembering various numbers of limbs, collecting various numbers of logs and schematics, defeating all the bosses, spending over $200,000 at the store, I don't know what I spent it on because I had barely anything when I started New Game Plus, and of course all 13 trophies for finishing each chapter and the game. There's actually a little known Easter egg related to the chapter names in Dead Space. If you take the first letter of every chapter trophy, it spells DLACTGSSWKBE. And I think that's a pretty cool Easter egg for the devs to include. Given that I had already played through the game, I went straight into the cleanup stage. I started on easy, New Game Plus, and this was a mistake, but more on that later. The goals for this playthrough were to A. Refamiliarize myself with the game, B. Get as many miscellaneous trophies as possible, and C. Finish the game using only the plasma cutter for the trophy 1 gun. I remembered all the controls as if I'd never stopped playing, and it was just under 40 minutes in that I got the Brawler trophy for killing 30 enemies with melee. I had a lot of trouble with melee in this game. My advice is just don't use it. Melee is literally useless. It sucks. Aside from my troubles fisting aliens, the first stop I made was at a workbench to see exactly where past Shady was in terms of upgrades. And I don't know what he was doing. I had 12 nodes in my inventory, yet I hadn't fully upgraded my Rig or Plasma Cutter, and I had none of the upgrades for my Stasis, Kinesis or other weapons I had purchased previously. But being as dumb as I was worked out pretty well because it left me with a fairly blank canvas for the challenge at hand. I put all my nodes into health and stasis, legged it to the first store, purchased the New Game Plus exclusive level 6 Darth Vader Stormtrooper crossover suit, that's disgusting, not gonna lie, and got to work. The next trophies earned were for 0G jumping over 100 times, storing 25 items in a safe, forcing 5 enemies into a gravity panel. How do I force him into a gravity panel? That's another trophy. And using stasis on 50 enemies. I know what you're thinking, all these trophies are really easy, and I agree, they are, but I'd like to refer you back to this clip. What was I doing, dude? The first trophy that gave me grief was Don't Get Cocky, Kid. This was for using the ADS cannon to protect the Ishimura from asteroids, having at least 50% of the hull strength remaining. The hull is already down to 85% strength, and I'd recently seen a YouTube video where someone got this same achievement. They said that you could use both triggers, one for each side of the cannon, and as a kid they didn't know this, and I'd wondered that maybe if I had the same issue. Turns out that after 3 attempts, it was a skill issue. Kicking it is earned by escaping a lurker grab 10 times.
There we go.
And full arsenal is for buying every weapon.
Haha, yeah.
And they all immediately went into the safe because, well, this is a plasma cutter only run. After wandering around the Ishimura for a bit longer, we come face to face with a larger necromorph called the Slug Boss, and this is another ADS cannon section, and like the last one, there's a trophy for killing the boss with 50% shields remaining. Also like the last one, there was a minor skill issue. Okay, I've got 8%, I've got 2% hull integrity left. Before I fail, I have failed. Oh god, there's more! Oh shit, okay, and we failed. I have 4%. We good? And now all we have to do is hope that it actually said 50% in the trophy description and not 75, because I honestly don't know. Oh, we did get the trophy. Oh, okay. Shortly afterwards, at the start of Chapter 9, I found the shooting range, and completing it with a perfect score earned me the Crackshot trophy. It was actually really forgiving, giving you unlimited ammo for the duration of the course. The most trouble I had with it was trying to find the sweet spot between getting a broad enough line of sight on the targets while also not being too far away it would drop out. But you don't have to start from round 1 each time if you mess up. It only restarts the current round, making it one of the easier challenges in the game. The journey forward was pretty stressful. Oh. I'm still alive! Oh, no, okay. Okay, good thing I kept a lot of those health kits. Okay, we're on fire again. It's fine. Everything's fine. So I was quite thankful when I stumbled across the 0G basketball court. The game itself is mind-numbingly simple, but after the trip here, it was a very welcome section, and completing level 6 was a breeze. Yeah! After stumbling all the way back to the start of the game, I can finally grab the Peng treasure, something that wasn't obtainable before because last time we didn't have the Kinesis module and Isaac was also on fire. One small trip to the planet's surface and a boss fight later, I unlocked the One Gun trophy, officially wrapping up my New Game Plus playthrough. Now I only had a few trophies left to clean up, and they were all weapon related. I needed 30 kills with the Ripper, Force Gun, Contact Beam and Flamethrower, as well as maxing out all of the upgrades for each. I'd made a backup save in Chapter 11, and my thinking was that I should easily be able to get everything before finishing the game a second time. This was wrong. I loaded my backup save, accidentally sold the guns I had in my safe. When I was moving all of those guns from the safe, I didn't hit move, I hit sell. This is just another Assassin's Creed Black Flag moment. Don't be bad, thank you, I'll try and take that into consideration the next time. Reloaded my save and pretended it didn't happen. Before making it back to the boss, I only earned 2 trophies, kills with the Ripper and the Force Gun. Whoosha, we did it, okay. I severely underestimated how many necromorphs there were in the final 2 chapters, and even got myself into a sticky situation with the final boss, as I only had ammo for weapons that weren't ranged. With an amazing clutch play, oh, that one dropped plasma cutter ammo. I have no health now though, but as long as they don't hit me, I beat the boss and begrudgingly started a second attempt on New Game Plus. Here I very quickly managed to get the kills with the Contact Beam, and if you're struggling with this, my legitimate tip is to aim for the groin. The upper body or head move way too much to be able to get an accurate shot on them, and the alternate fire is sort of weak. As for the Flamethrower, it was just a matter of time. Now's probably a good time to talk about how I played the game originally. So the guide I was looking at for the maxed out trophy suggested that it would take roughly 1.5 playthroughs to get the power nodes in order to upgrade everything. And I managed to make it a quarter of the way through the game a third time before I finally got enough to get the trophy. This means that I ran past so many items on my first ever playthrough that it's almost like I didn't play the game at all. I was way too scared to branch off the main path and look for anything. Even watching my old Let's Play videos, it was embarrassing seeing how many items I ignored picking up just to get the hell out of there as quickly as possible. But now, on to the main event. Impossible difficulty. At this stage I had a really good idea of what weapons I wanted to use. I also knew exactly what type of scares to expect, having studied all the various enemy types in depth. Let's see. There's normal boys, fast boys, small boys, bigger boys, scary boys, lanky boys, splody boys, these things, faster boys, and this and they all have an upgraded version, except for this With all of this knowledge crammed into my brain, I was as prepared as I could be for impossible. But there's only one way to really describe the journey I was about to go on. Cursed from the very start. Why isn't it there? This is a common glitch, and luckily with a quick Google search, I learned that I could load a completed game and quit back to the main menu just as the opening cutscene started. This worked, and after crash landing on the Ishimura and realizing that Isaac's basic suit is reinforced in exactly the right area, we pick up Ye Olde Faithful, and our first task is to get the tram system back online. On the way, I learned that my easy New Game Plus strategy of panic firing just wasn't going to work, as enemies took 7 shots on average to go down with my fresh out-of-the-box plasma cutter. I had also gotten used to the very spacious inventory of the level 6 suit. Making my way back from swapping out the damaged tram car, I was unconsensually hugged by a few fast boys, and got to watch as my only 2 friends left alive took the tram to the bridge without me. So I decided to go back to the shuttle and see how my friends liked being abandoned the same way that they abandoned me, and on the way, I got scared, panicked, and used the last of my resources. This put me in a very sticky situation when I had to cross the hangar bridge to the shuttle. I was able to sprint my way across and narrowly escape the explosion of my sabotaged ship, but sadly the normal boys got to me, and this death was only 44 minutes into the run. Well, that checks out. Compare this to my first death on New Game Plus, which was almost 2.5 hours in, and purely because of an environmental insta-kill. Coming back to Dead Space on easy New Game Plus gave me a stupendous level of confidence. I had the best armor, a fully upgraded rig, a fully upgraded plasma cutter, money. I honestly thought that finishing the game using only the plasma cutter would be the most difficult challenge, because unlike in the Dead Space remake, this hardest difficulty isn't permadeath. I was wrong. The room before the bridge had one crate with 6 ammo in it, meaning I had a chance to nearly kill one of 6 enemies in my way. I was able to take off a few legs and run back into the main room, but one of the fast boys followed me, and that was the end of that. At this point, my only option was to take the 6 ammo I found in the main room, backtrack to take out the easier necromorphs I'd run past before, in the hopes that they'd drop more ammo. This went very well. Having no other ideas at all, I tried again, and this time killing the 2 necromorphs in the hallway did drop some ammo, but not as much as I would have liked. And after the 15 minutes of backtracking, I realized that it was my own cockiness that cursed the run. Because in the notification blurb that I put out, the go live notification, I said, and get this, let me read it word for word, surely impossible difficulty actually means it's really quite easy. There's nothing else to say about that other than I am a fucking idiot. On bridge attempt 3, I had just enough ammo to take down one boy, and that gave me enough ammo to take down the second, and holy shit, this worked. This was the final fight of the chapter, and before taking the tram, I was able to buy the level 2 suit, and I yeeted the fuck out of there. Going through chapter 2, I realized that maybe I could save just a little bit of ammo by aiming directly for the arms, as once both arms go, the necromorphs are usually dead. Theoretically, this would save me 3 to 4 shots trying to shoot off their legs like I normally would. Chapter 2 also introduced us to the small boys. They were okay to deal with provided they didn't get far enough away to shoot their spikes at you. My strategy of just running away from everything was going great until I ran away into the first group of these things. In fact, no, what the fuck? Finally making it to the objective introduced another 2 enemies into the mix. The Flappy Boy is a timid creature that only attacks you when it has no other choice, and that's why I chose to leave it off of my enemy guide and definitely didn't just forget about it. The real danger of the Flappy Boy is its ability to turn any corpse with intact arms and legs into a scary boy, which is why it's a good idea to take them out first. Taking our 2 new friends out, let me move on to chapter 3, where I had to re-engage something to do with something, I don't know, I just tuned this guy out now. After turning the something back on, I was back down to just 7 bullets, and the next room contained my favourite combo of Flappy Boy and Scary Boy. I was able to swiftly deal with the Flappy Boy, but my health was so low that when the Scary Boy nicked my toe in slow motion, Isaac just couldn't take anymore and died. Okay, he hit me, You see, mate, how this game works is that I had you stasised. The checkpoint was back when I activated the last switch, and now that I knew what was coming up, I could gracefully run past everything to conserve ammo. At this stage, I decided to buy the line gun. I knew I wanted it for a later boss fight, and knowing the room coming up now seemed like the perfect time. I didn't end up using it for the room I was worried about, and that was the end of Chapter 3. Now it was time to reconvene with Hammond, who almost immediately kicked us out of the safest room on the ship and tasked us to reroute power to the elevators so that we could reach the ADS cannon. On the way, we encounter the first bigger boy, and this is the sole reason I'd purchased the line gun, as I'd seen someone else two-shot this thing during their own impossible run. This didn't work the same for me though, so after my third time lucky, I sold that piece of shit and used the cash to buy the level 3 suit. The run-in with the second brute in the basement, however, was smooth as fuck, as I could weave back and forth through this doorway to infinitely refill my stasis. And in the next room, I found out that the Ripper I'd purchased was also not that great. With the power back on, it was time to head to the first ADS cannon section, but getting there wasn't a walk in the park. It was a walk in space.
In space.
This is the most trivial part of the game. Thankfully though, the cannon section itself went so well that I could have earned the trophy here first try. But now on to Chapter 5, and the part that I'd been dreading the most. This turd really ruined my day, especially when you're locked in a room with him and a bunch of other boys. What ruined my day even more was that this room is a timed holdout section, and I was relying solely on the people who abandoned me at the start of the game to open the door. Thankfully they came through and I was able to sprint past everything all the way to this room where I was able to freeze the regenerator. That was the end of Chapter 5, and I can safely say that Chapter 6 was easily the cruisiest chapter out of the whole game. This was the chapter where Hammond famously came to investigate what was poisoning the ship's air supply without any sort of mask, or suit, or oxygen backup. Anyway, he dies, and wait, there's something about this area that just seems oddly familiar.
Oh my god, what's that? What's that? Oh.
Yeah, that'd be why. The objective here is to stop the yucky necromorphs turning the oxygen into CO2, and when I said it was the cruisiest chapter, it doesn't mean that it didn't have its moments.
Stop eating it. Put it. Oh, fuck. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I actually meant that it measured fairly low on my patent pending stressometer. So while current Shady is having an okay time, let's see how past Shady is coping.
Go away. Go away. Oh my god, everyone leave. Just leave. Just leave. Just leave. Just leave.
Now what the fuck is this leg doing?
Please be a safe station. Just somewhere.
Well, I'm not dead yet, but this animation is suspiciously long.
We're going now. Back over to the console. Okay.
Ah, hello.
Is there something I'm meant to be doing? Okay. Well, that still didn't help. Well, we'll leave it there then. I shall see everyone next time.
And I never uploaded part 3, so at least one of me made progress. This chapter ends with a fight against a huge boss I'm fairly certain is referred to by the community as the Space Anus. It wasn't my smoothest boss fight. I ran out of ammo midway through and resorted to throwing explosive canisters at it. That's probably why they're there. And eventually I had to play catch with the explosive pods it was spewing at me. In Chapter 7, I was tasked with attaching an SOS beacon to a big chunk of rock and sending it into space in the hopes of someone finding it. This was the first chapter on my previous run that gave me a bit of a challenge, and just like the side character in a Telltale game, I remembered that. Throughout my current run, I was toying with the theory that the parts I remembered would cause me to clench up the most. I'd replayed the first 4 chapters the morning I started Impossible. I knew that Chapter 5 was where the regenerator was introduced, and they had scared me a lot more than Chapter 6. a part that I'd forgotten most of. This proved to be more or less correct, as although I didn't remember many of the specifics in Chapter 7, it clearly changed my demeanour and I shriveled back into my scared, panic-firing self from 2010. In this chapter, we meet up with Isaac's girlfriend, Nicole, and we have to protect her while she hacks a terminal. Also here was the first low ammo scare I'd had in a very long time.
Did they drop any ammo over there? If they did, please throw it to me. Oh, Nicole, you're brilliant. Thank you.
Now this is the room containing the giant rock we need to attach the beacon to. It's a very large, very open area that contains upgraded fast boys, and when you die, which I wouldn't know anything about, you have to start the whole room again. Even though there aren't many enemies, taking out the same 4 upgraded fast boys over and over again really took a toll. That, combined with the oxygen timer and the stress of navigating this environmental insta-kill between me and safety, had me at wit's end. Which was not a great state of mind to be in, knowing that when I push the button to launch the rock into space, I get trapped in a lockdown and have to fight my way out. There are only 4 necromorphs in this room, 2 normal boys and 2 scary boys, but I hid in a corner and just prayed.
Don't feel good. Thank God for that.
And with my heart still pounding, I yeeted out of there and ended both the chapter and the stream. The chapter wasn't long and not that bad looking back on it. I only died 4 times, but just the idea of it being the first chapter to challenge me on easy really played on my mind.
So, after weighing on it for a while and speaking to a few of my friends, I decided to do something drastic. I'm not up there with the likes of my favorite challenge running YouTubers. I'm here for a trophy, and part of conquering any platinum is using the tools that the game provides.
In the case of Just Cause 3, it was the Jetpack DLC, which allowed you to fly seamlessly over enemy bases and destroy them without touching the ground, making the long grind infinitely faster. In Arkham Knight, it was 3-starring the pre-order bonus Scarecrow DLC over some of the more difficult Batmobile challenges, and in the case of Dead Space, it was the Military Weapon DLC. I loaded up Chapter 8 and started on my way to repair the comms array. On the way, I explained to chat that I am just a wimpy little boy, and as soon as I hit the first shop, I donned the tank suit, a level 5 suit that reduces damage and has a few extra inventory slots. I also equipped the heavy damage pulse rifle along with the military plasma cutter, force gun and line gun. As a thank you for paying a real $15 for everything, they were all free in the store, completely solving my money issues. But that didn't stop me from entering all of the game's built-in cheats for money and power nodes. I was in a state of complete zen. Hell, I was so zen that I was smiling in this large room filled with scary boys, and I had them dropping like flies. With the comms array back up and running, we received a transmission from a military ship saying they'd picked up our distress call along with an escape pod Hammond launched containing a necromorph. Unfortunately, our signal wasn't strong enough to tell them that if they opened it, it would be worse than opening that out-of-date jar that's been at the back of the fridge for a couple of years. Turns out the thing really weakening our comms was this giant slug, and after getting rid of it, with over 50% of the shields remaining first try, we were able to contact the Valor. They didn't respond, which I think is really rude. Also, Hammond is alive, and he's skeptical as to why the Valor was really here.
They're on a seek and destroy mission. Do you hear me?
Yet they couldn't seek and destroy one necromorph.
But luckily for us, we can salvage part of their ship in hope of fixing ours. Exploring the Valor, we encountered the first of many faster boys, but with my military kit, they were no issue. I was able to easily grab the core and then had my first run-in with the upgraded bigger boy. I think Hammond is really dead this time. In Chapter 10, we're contacted by, I forgot his name, but he seems to have some information on the marker and knows of a shuttle nearby that we could use. At this point, some of the Ishimura's life support systems have started to fail, so keeping an eye on Isaac's oxygen meter was key until we reached this part.
It is you, I knew it.
The room after reuniting with my best friend is a tough holdout section with a bunch of upgraded necromorphs and said best friend. Narrowly escaping that room led to a full-on sprint to the shuttle bay, and an unfortunately timed safety hazard saw the demise of our bestie. Chapter 11 is where we need to go and find and raise the mysterious marker from storage. It's in this surprisingly huge space, and because there's part of me that's still a little bit scared, I camped up the top and took out as many boys as I could from a long distance. Unfortunately, my luck changed when I got down there.
Right now, holy shit. My health, it's low. I am dead.
There were normal boys, big boys, small boys, scary boys, and tentacles all coming at me at the same time. My strategy ended up being to stick to one of the side walkways and take out the horde before taking on each tentacle one at a time. But each time I would move the marker forward, it would trigger another wave, and it became a wash, rinse, repeat type of encounter. Nevertheless, I was able to move the marker onto the shuttle to take it back to its home planet with my new friend when Kendra betrayed us and jacked my sweet new ride. With some quick thinking from Nicole, we were able to unjack it, reverse jack it, oh no, we got it back, and then we took the marker to Aegis 7, the marker homeworld. Here I had to escort the marker through another large, open room filled with scary boys, small boys, and splody boys, but the waves of enemies here were much more bearable, and I was easily able to get the marker back to its pedestal. I was itching to finish, but unfortunately had to sit through this unbearable dialogue where, oh, spoilers, it turns out Nicole was dead this whole time. I knew the twist, so I used this heavy story beat to double check my inventory and get some quick cardio in before going on to the final boss. The only real trouble I had on this run was the aim controls when hanging upside down, but I can gladly say that I beat it first. He's still going though. Okay, I beat it on my second attempt. I tried to leave the weak spots on the other side this time in hope that I could aim better as they were further away, but this was just as clutch as the last try. But it was only a matter of time before I landed the killing blow and could get the hell out of there to celebrate.
Come on, I see it.
Okay. Oh! Getting this plat after so long on such a hard run was a huge, huge sigh of relief, and goddamn, I was happy. Even when chat pointed out that the platinum trophy was spelled incorrectly.
Dude, this was utterly insane. I never thought that I would have the gall to come back to Dead Space, let alone go for impossible. Even when I thought to come back to this game for trophies, I thought I would get as many as possible and just leave Epic Tier 3 Engineer untouched. If only Parshady could see what he'd one day accomplish. Even if it took him 13 years and 6 months to work up the courage to do it. Thank you all so very much for watching, and if you made it this far, be sure to leave our little known chapter Easter egg down in the comments. I've put it in the description just to make it a little bit easier to spell. I once again invite you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and why not follow me on Twitch as well? There is a link in the description. I really do want to stream more this year, and although I may be a bit infrequent, Twitch is the place to be to see moments like this.
I'm not sus. I'm realge. That's a word now. What was the word again? Realge. It's like sag and sausage, but real with a G-E on it. I'll type it out. There we go. I've invented a new gamer term for everyone. It's going to take over POG, is what it's going to do. No one's going to use POG anymore. Instead of saying POG, they'll go, oh wow, realge. Or like, oh, realge. What a realge play. Oh, realge.
And on that note, I will see you later. My one request is that you do not ask me to do Dead Space 2 or 3 on their hardest difficulties. I will not cope.